Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys a quick behind the scenes breakdown of the music that I did for this awesome project by Mike, which is called He Is Greater. It's a really interesting concept, basically, of almost like horror meets religion, and it's really cool. If you haven't already seen it, definitely check this out right here. Give him a follow. And give me a follow too. Definitely check this out. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys the music all together first, and then break down some of the key components following that. All right, here we go. A fair warning, definitely go ahead and put your volume down just a little bit because this gets crazy. All right, here we go. Right, and we have a little decay. So y'all, check this out, man. First of all, as you've seen in my first post about this, or maybe you haven't seen it, but anyway, I struggle sometimes with like the more modern kind of style of composing when it's like more hybrid and textural and stuff like that, because typically that also involves more sound design. And I had to really dig deep into my bag for this one. I had to study a bunch of different modern horror film scores to really kind of get a grasp on like the kinds of things that happens. I forget what it's called, like the specific term that it's called. I learned it in school and I just graduated. But anyway, it's basically a term that basically is associated with horror music or horror genre media, where it's like a shock value, something that's like, it comes out of nowhere and scares you, right? So I kind of wanted to play on that with the monster's growl. So here's where that comes in. It's still kind of on a beat though, obviously. Still wanted to kind of follow up well, but here's what I did with that one. So those are the two growls are just pretty much regular. There's not much reverb on it. It's very, very empty. But then this last one it has reverb, and you could actually even see it's being right. So it has some of that reverb actually coming in towards the end, just the end, and then it just decays naturally. Now, what I have in general in terms of the plugins affecting it, I have this plugin called Hamburger. Really great distortion plugger, really great distortion plugin that I found not too long ago, and I've been using it on stuff like this. It helps me just transform the sounds that I'm using it on. Here's what it sounds like without it. Let me go ahead and bypass it and play that back for you. Okay, and then with it. So as you can see, it adds a certain level of to it. Okay, another thing that I wanted to show you guys, which I think is super, super cool, is actually in the, I would call it the texture sound design parts of this cue. A lot of these are things that I had resampled. So what I have basically in my setup, and I think this is actually gone now, I have a lot of things being hidden. Let me see. I don't feel like going through that process. There's a lot of tracks being hidden right now, but there's a track that I have in my resampling audio section of my template, where basically I have audio that I can import, and most times I just go ahead and resample them in different ways. And that's exactly what I did here. I want to show you guys something really quickly. Listen to this. That's me and my son giving him a bath. Here's him screaming. I'm trying to get him to scream. Okay, as you can see, very piercing sound, right? Now check this out. Here's that same sound. Okay, here's my son. He made his first credit. I was just kidding, but I'm gonna go ahead and take off all the different effects on it. Here's what that sounds like. Oh, by the way, so what I did, why it sounds a little bit different, I transposed it down, as you can see right over here. I transposed it down. Okay, so that's why if I go back to the regular transposition of it, well, no transposition, that's what it sounds like. Okay, so I transpose it down, then I add these two effect plugins on it. Really cool sound. So let's start with this one. This is basically I'm sending it through an effects channel, essentially. It's adding some level of distortion to it, which is totally cool. But what I really like is this Gate Lab plugin. Now this Gate Lab plugin is what's making it kind of go in and out, side to side as well. And so here's what that sounds like with this thing basically bypassed. Okay, so you still have that distortion, but here's what it sounds like with it enabled. I'm also really proud of like some of the things that I did. Like I had some ping pong ball sounds that I just like did different pitches on them, like transpositions on them. Like this is 24, this is -2, this is 17, so it's boosted up high. And here's what those three sound like. And it just, I don't know, it just gives you a certain level of something for your ear to catch on to that's also still very eerie and nervous, you know, make you feel nervous. And I'm purposely making it go all different, you know, perspectives on the stereo field, so that way you kind of like again, like in a horror film, you're like, what's that sound? Why am I hearing it from different places? Like, you know, I almost imagine like a voice or something like that calling out to you. I enjoyed this too much. Okay, this one is something I was really proud of. I basically, and I did the same thing over here essentially. So I have this sound. It's a simple, you know, riser kind of sound. So what I did was I had audio riser. It's a short little bit. And what I did was essentially stretched it using a time stretch tool. So to get this riser to stretch like that, what I did essentially was pull up a stretch audio effect plugin called Paul X Stretch right here. I recorded into it. Then from there, I have it sent to a whole new group. And then from there, I'm able to resample it essentially. So that's what I did for this one right here that you're hearing. It was a much shorter riser. I made it into a longer one. And then after that, I love using audio because then I could just chop things up and go with them as I will. And I literally was just like trying different things out. Like I was at some points using a triplet kind of cut with the eighths, sometimes using 16, sometimes using 30-second notes. Sometimes I was just like chopping up smaller, like regular larger pieces, you know? So, and here's what that ended up sounding like. Just a riser. I also, sorry, I forgot to mention, I also have some automation happening to the volume. I wanted the volume to steadily, to jump up as far as volume, so that way it's in your face more when it was doing those chops. So that's what I did right here. That's the volume track being automated, as you can see. And then just in general, it's increasing towards the end quite a bit, right? Here you can see it's kind of probably chopped in triplet eighths. Same thing here. This is probably chopped in triplet quarter notes, just from the looks of it. And I'm deleting every other kind of thing, right? Triplet eighths, 30-second notes, yada yada. Okay. Also, what I'm doing to here is using an EQ filter to essentially add high pass on this, okay, and allowing for that to constantly come back up whenever the chops are in place. So here's that sound like. I want to show you a few more other cool tricks here. Again, this is like mostly audio because I just found that in this kind of thing, and I might even be doing this from now on, honestly, even for like melodic stuff, like I think I'm going to start just like balancing things out because it helps me to just keep things more final. And I really do enjoy that aspect of it, which you can see I did that for the strings. So let's listen to what the strings are doing here. So you have the double bass playing that motive. And this motive, by the way, is just built off of C sharp to G to F sharp to C. And so I'm trying to play on those tritones. It's super cliche. I don't care. It works. Don't recreate the wheel. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm doing right there with the double basses. And then I kind of play on that same motive to make the melody towards the end. So yeah, check this out. have it, okay? Nothing too crazy. I added that ostinato doubling up top just to give it a little bit more oomph, you know, a little more force. What else do I have here? Oh, the guitars. What could I know it's in the synths. That's because I heavily distorted it with a lot of different plugins, and then I balanced it out to myself. But nonetheless, here are 2 guitars from East West, and I just like the way it sounded, and then I added some effects to it, and then I bounced it out. But here's what it sounds like right here. Again, guard your ears. Here we go. I like how I pitched it down. I love that. When you do that, it gets me going, you know. So now I have 2 together, one right, one left. There you go with that pitch bend again. That's it. I want to touch upon super important melodic percussion. For this cue, I thought it was super important to add tubular bells, to add piano, and most importantly, xylophone. I've said this before, but xylophone is my best friend. I love to use it as accents. I love to use it in different ways. I almost use it in every single thing that I'm playing. But yeah, check this out. Beautiful. Tubular bells, right? Now check this out. That with this pipe organ, I'm using it like for a bass. I'm also using the sub bass for that as well. Check out just those 2 elements alone, how much it just blows up in your face and just feels super epic and dramatic. Purposely leaving that last note off in the bass because I want that growl to hit more in the mix. I don't want it to have to fight against anything. So let's keep on going. So for this track, I use orchestral instruments, but I didn't leave them the way they were. I'll typically change them using distortion and stuff like that to really make sure they didn't sound super regular, because I needed it to all feel scary, okay? And I'm all for not buying new plugins all the time, and instead either getting free plugins or using your built-in DAW plugins to help you get the sound that you want. All right, so here's what I did with the brass section. So as you can hear, especially like if you take away the first solo horns and you focus on these two are distorted like crazy, like smack your mama kind of crazy. The last thing to touch up on are the drums, really. Drums go stupid in this track. Not stupid as far as like what's going on, but stupid as far as like it just really punches in your face. It's just out there, like boom, it hits you hard. Basically, I use a lot of patches from Damage 1. I don't have Damage 2 yet. I'm still... Listen, y'all, I'm a teacher, man. Okay, so I gotta use my resources wisely, okay? I use what I got, and I get the job done. In my personal opinion, I think it still sounds really well. So anyway, I'm using Damage 1 because it has some really emphatic, punchy, loud, epic sounding hits. So here's what I have for the drums, and then I just bounce them out into audio, so that way for some of them I can like process them differently, add gain. Some of them I had a transit master on them, so that way they could just punch through when I wanted them to. All right, here we go. Also, again, guard your ears. Here we go. Now, of course, there's sound effects happening in the background, so but you get the point. Keep going. All right, y'all. So that's it for this breakdown tutorial, if you will, of how I made this horror track. Definitely go ahead, like, subscribe, share. You know what to do. Thank you again for the support. Peace out.